Hello, everyone, and welcome by Back. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven77, and I'm sure you all know we're doing our theme week this week, and the theme is Karloff versus Lugosi. Now, this is a tough one. Oh boy, this is a tough one because you got both Karloff and Lugosi, two of the most memorable actors in horror ever, and I decided, if I'm going to do this, I needed a real challenge. And I decided the movie that I decided on was from 1934 called The Black Cat, which is a very loose adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's short story. But that was the thing, it's like, in my opinion, this is one of the best movies that both Karloff and Lugosi have ever done. They both play very much to their strengths in this movie. And, so I just figured this is already a tough decision to make. So I figure, oh God, I really need to set myself a challenge. I really need a movie that looks at both of them when they're just at their best, bringing their A game, and to finally kill the suspense. I'm gonna have to say, oh God, this hurts me to say. It really does, but I'm probably gonna have to say my favorite is probably Boris Karloff. I just, I think the thing that makes Boris Karloff stand out to me is that here is a man who, he could take like the littlest role, or he could take a role that really in a lesser actor's hands could be nothing, and just, pass through, and he makes it so memorable. He made The Mummy. For decades, he made The Mummy memorable. He made Frankenstein memorable. And that's the thing. So many other actors have come along and played those roles. But it's like, look at Frankenstein. Robert De Niro's played Frankenstein. Even Bela Lugosi has played the Frankenstein. Well, not Frankenstein, but the Frankenstein monster. Sorry. But, Robert De Niro's played the Frankenstein monster. Even Bela Lugosi himself played the Frankenstein monster. And Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, and on and on and on. But when we think of the Frankenstein monster, we always remember Boris Karloff. And it's the same thing with The Mummy. The Mummy has been remade several times now. And, it's like when we think of The Mummy, we always fondly remember Boris Karloff's version of it. Even if there are people out there who are like, well, I don't really like the old Mummy. I much prefer, like the Brendan Fraser Mummy trilogy and stuff like that, or whatever. And I think there's very few people out there who are going to be like, I really prefer the Tom Cruise Mummy. But anyway, so yeah, as much as it hurts me to say, because I do, oh man, it really does. It hurts. And I think I can speak for the other guys when when I say this, that yeah, I think I could speak for the other guys when I say this too, though. This just, it really hurts to sit there and have to try to choose between both of these actors because they're both great. They're both legends. But anyway, getting on to the story of the Black Cat. Okay, in the movie, we're introduced to Peter and Joan. Peter is played by David Manners, who had been in the original Mummy. He'd been in the original Dracula, things like that. And the two of them, they just got married. They're, going on their honeymoon, and they're on a train. Well, because of a mix-up, they end up having to share, their train carriage. They have to share it with Dr. Vitas Vendigas. I know I'm butchering these. Please forgive me, everybody. I know I'm butchering the names of Karloff and Lugosi's characters. I'm sorry. I'm really trying. But Vitas Vertigas, played by Bela Lugosi, and, that's really the hard part. Is like when I watch this movie, I feel really, really sad. Because I think I see Bela Lugosi's performance in this, and in my opinion, this is easily probably the best performance he's ever done in his entire career. And what makes me sad about it is just the fact that Lugosi really, really had what it took to be to be a leading man, to really just get in there and just, he easily could have been up there with the likes of Cary Grant or Spencer Tracy or Jimmy Stewart or Clark Gable or something, and it would have made it all the more, interesting and exotic because he had his Hungarian accent and things like that. You really could have seen the potential for Lugosi to go on and become, one of the big, movie matinee idols or something, and it's really, really painful to see. And the thing is like, it's interesting when, even though Lugosi's character, as the movie progresses, his character kind of slips more and more into madness. At the beginning of the movie and throughout the movie, basically, Lugosi is the good guy, which is rare because usually, as much as I hate to say it, but it seemed like for the majority of Lugosi's career, I said it seems like, I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it seemed like Lugosi always played either a vampire, a mad scientist, a deformed hunchback. It seemed like there was always so much of that going on, and just, and it was just nice to see him play a leading man role and to see that he could really pull it off, and he had what it took to do it. So anyway, so they meet up on this train, and we find out that Vertigas has been a prisoner in a Siberian prison for a long time, and he's going to see, he says, a friend, but we find out later that's not so much the case. So anyway, so they get off the train, and Vertigas, he's made friends with Peter and Joan. You could tell he's got a little bit of an eye for Joan, but turns out pretty much every man in this movie has an eye for Joan, for different reasons. But the thing is like, Lugosi, even though, like, yeah, you could tell his character would like to be romantically involved with Joan, but at the same time, he becomes more of like, a protector, a father figure for her and everything. And, he has a fondness for Peter as well. So they get in their carriage and, it's a taxi. He shares a taxi with them. Well, the taxi breaks down and then they have to go, unfortunately, Joan and Peter cannot go on their way to where they're going. So Vertigas, suggests that they go to the place that he was going to. And I know I'm mispronouncing the name, to the house of Pilzig? I'm sorry. Like I said, I know I'm butchering Karloff's character's name in this. So they go there, because it's a dark, rainy night, so they got to get out of the storm. So they get there. It turns out that Joan is injured. So Vertigas, being a doctor, he takes, they take Joan to her room and he treats her and makes sure she's okay, gives her medicine so she can sleep, things like that. And then then we meet Boris Karloff's character, who, like I said, in my opinion, like in the hands of a lesser actor, this could have just been, just a villainous role that could have been just, easily remembered. But Karloff, because of his line delivery, because of his look, because of his accent, because of his way of emoting, Karloff just, he makes it so memorable. And his character is just so, it just stands out so much. And so, he allows them to sleep in his house, in his home, and everything. But then we realize that actually what ended up happening is that Vertigas and, Pulzig, Karloff's character, I should just say Karloff's character, that, the two of them fought in the war together, and then it turned out that Karloff is, he's the evil guy. He sold out his army to basically the Russians, I believe it was. Soviets, I think. Soviets, Russians, whoa. But anyway, so he sold them out, and pretty much that the home he built is pretty much on their graveyard. And then we find out that Karloff's character is actually very much a Satan worshiper, and he's evil, and he's doing all these evil things. And then we find out that even though Joan and Peter just got married, we find out that Joan is a virgin, and for Karloff's character, that's perfect because he wants to do a satanic ritual that, where he could sacrifice Joan because, of course, satanic ritual, you got to have a virgin, right? It's like, it's just hand in hand, right? So they want, so he wants to do it. So he's trying to, so he ends up fixing the situation where Peter and Joan can't leave. And so Vertigas, being more of the hero in this movie, he wants to defeat Karloff's character. For another thing, though, too, is that Karloff's character, when Vertigas was locked away in the Siberian prison for all those years, it turns out that Karloff's character married his wife and got her involved into his satanic you know, hoodooings and stuff like that. And then when she died, he married, you know, Lugosi's daughter, and now, you know, he's got her, and so he's holding her captive and stuff. But the thing is like, you know, Lugosi doesn't know that, you know, his daughter's still alive. As far as he's concerned, he thinks Karloff's character pretty much murdered both of them. So that's another thing. He's here to get revenge for his wife and his daughter, but at the same time, you know, being more the good guy, he wants Karloff's character to let Joan and Peter go because, you know, they're innocent, and he's, you know, he feels protective of both of them. And Karloff character decides, you know, well, we'll play a game of chess, and if, you know, and if they, you know, if Lugosi wins, you know, he'll let them go. If not, then, you know, sorry, they're screwed. And, you know, you might be asking, well, you know, why doesn't Lugosi just fight, you know, Karloff and get it over with and everything? Well, it turns out one of the problems too, and this is where you get the title, is that Lugosi's character very much has a fear of cats. And so Karloff's character always has this black cat roaming around, and whenever Lugosi sees the black cat, he freaks out, you know. So, but anyway, though, then you get into this, you know, it's working up to, they're getting ready to do their satanic ritual, and, you know, Joan is going to be sacrificed, so it's up to both Vertigas and Peter to try to save Joan's life. And, you know, but like I said, as the truth becomes revealed, what happened to Vertigas and his past, and what happened with his family and stuff like that, as the movie, you know, goes along, you know, his character goes more, you know, slips more and more into madness. Now, this movie, I really like this movie. I think it's, you know, it's a beautifully done film. It's beautifully shot. The acting is good. The writing is good. Everything about this movie works. You know, I mean, if somebody was like, you know, oh, old Universal movies, they suck, you know, it's like, this would be one I would definitely recommend to them. And it's like, just, you know, watch the movie, watch the story. It's really good. Even if it is a very loose adaptation of Poe's short story, it really is a good film. And Karloff gives a great performance. Like I said, you know, any other actor not worth their salt could have just made this just a typical villain that just kind of comes and goes, you know, in one ear, out the other. But Karloff makes it memorable. Lugosi, you know, it's worth it just watching it for Lugosi alone, just because, you know, you get to see Lugosi completely play against type. But like I said, it's so sad to watch because, you know, Lugosi is, you see the potential he could have had to be a great leading man, and just, it never happened. But anyway, yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. Let's see, what else is there? You know, at the time, this movie, you know, 1934, this movie was very, very risque. And, you know, this movie had some troubles when it was coming out. You know, there's a scene where, trying not to give anything away, but there's a scene where, you know, Lugosi's character wants to skin Boris Karloff's character alive. Which, I mean, nowadays, yeah, you see that in horror movies left and right. You see people, you know, martyrs and stuff like that. You know, you see people getting skinned all the time, but, you know, in horror movies. But back then, you know, you didn't have that sort of thing in horror movies, you know. So this movie, yeah, it's pretty tough, you know, tough stuff for the time. But, you know, but this is a movie, in my opinion, I think it's aged well. Sure, there are a couple of scenes with the, you know, where the kind of like the police, I guess, show up, but they're, you know, it's, you know, just kind of Keystone cops, kind of bumbling cops. You know, that seems to be a thing in a lot of horror movies. You ever notice that? Like, especially like the Halloween series. You ever notice, like, watch the Halloween series. Usually cops are kind of bumbling fools in a lot of the Halloween movies. Like Halloween 5 and let's see here, Rob Zombie's remakes and even the 2018 Halloween. The cops always kind of tend to be kind of thuggy. But anyway, though, but yeah, I think I've gone on long enough. But yeah, this movie. But I think, you know, my main reason for picking Karloff over Lugosi is just, you know, like I said, Karloff seemed like he had more of a chance to kind of branch out and do other things. You know, I mean, he was able to, you know, be a chameleon in his roles, and even though we knew it was Karloff, but I mean, Karloff could take the most insignificant role and make it big, you know, and he was able to branch out and do other stuff. You know, I mean, he's, you know, he was a leading man in a lot of movies. He was, you know, he was a bit player in a lot of movies. You know, he would do movies where he barely had a cameo. He could play serious. He could play scary. He could play comedy. Have to admit, I don't think I've seen too much of Karloff playing a romantic lead or anything like that. But, you know, he played, you know, he was very good at playing tortured characters that, you know, like really just, you know, you felt so bad for. Even if they did horrible things, you still felt bad for them. He was able to create a sympathy for them and things like that. And just, you know, and everything he did, he made memorable, you know, and just, I mean, hell, he did, you know, he did the voice and the narration for, you know, the cartoon of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and, you know, just on and on and on. And so, you know, and just, you know, I feel bad because, like I say, when I watch this movie, I just feel like Lugosi, even though he had the potential, he just was never given those opportunities. And so that's why I think I have to kind of give it up a little bit more for Boris Karloff. But, you know, but still, it does hurt me to say that, you know, because I do appreciate Lugosi as an actor. And so, but that'd be the thing. If I say here, so, oh, they're both good and all this kind of, which they are, but, you know, oh, I can't decide. Never, that would be a cop-out because the point of this week is we're supposed to pick one or the other. So, yeah, as much as it hurts, I got to go with Boris Karloff. So, I'm sorry, Bela, but... So anyway, that's going to pretty much do it. The Black Cat, I totally recommend it. From 1934, yes. If you want to see a movie with both Karloff and Lugosi, where they're doing their absolute best, you know, you want to see, especially a movie where you get to see Bela Lugosi playing against type, where he's not just playing, I am Dracula and all this kind of stuff, you know, yeah, definitely watch The Black Cat. So, I think that's more than enough. So, if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Friday reviewer. We have different guys. Everybody's doing different stuff. Everything's great. And so, yeah. So, everybody, thank you again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you later.